Eddie Cohen, BLSA Chair, 2007-2008, Cumberland School of Law. I guess I want to talk about what this organization means to me and where I think it has been and where it should head for the next 40 years. BLSA, having a close relationship with our founder, BLSA's mission was to help the Black community. As we know, we have a very diverse set of Blacks now, looking at my generation. So the challenge is finding a way to still have a big impact on the community or balancing a population that's not so homogenous in law school today.
Well, Rakia Pippins from the University of Virginia School of Law Chair, 2005-2006, and I have to say without a doubt the thing that I valued the most about my time as chair and in BLSA was the family that it fostered. I, like Michael, I think expressed, saw the same encountered the same experience of coming to law school in a place you've never been before, and yet automatically having this resource that you knew was available to support you in so many ways. And I knew from the moment that I was at UVA that I wanted to ensure that all other people at every other law school got to experience that same sense of stability and love that I got to feel from my local chapter. And I know that's what led me to the regional convention where I first met Mashonda and ended up running for regional chair, and then to the opportunity to serve as national chair. And I think that during my time as chair, I loved seeing how our community reached out to members who had suffered different things during the time. Hurricane Katrina hit during my time as chair, and we were able to see members of our community displaced all across the nation. I had actually the president of the BLSA chapter at Tulane ended up coming to UVA, and she lived with me for the time that she was there. And in addition to having that one-on-one love for members, it became, what are we as a board, what are we going to, as a national organization, going to do? And we saw our program of rebuilding bridges. It was intellectually and physically created, in which, in addition to raising funds and trying to provide resources to members who were affected by it, we sent a team down during our spring breaks that volunteered to help with legal research and go on the ground, and seeing that family can transform and from something small at just your local level, or something small as your board members, or something as national as members across the nation, making people feel welcome. And that, for me, just reinforced the role that BLSA can play not only in the greater community, but for the students that enter each law school from entering a place they've never been before. And it's why I still and will always love BLSA to this day.
Mashonda Baldwin. I graduated from the University of Baltimore School of Law. I served as national chair from 2002 to 2003, and a second term from 2003 to 2004. I guess I'm an anomaly here because by the time I got to law school, I'd already been in the war. I'd been a soldier enlisted. I'd been an Army intelligence officer. I'd run my own franchise. So I was coming to law school, in preparation to be a United States Senator. And so the last thing I was thinking about was another student organization. But I thank God for the brothers and sisters that were on that campus who continuously put BLSA in my face. They constantly were like, you need to join this, you need to join this. And I was with a bunch of other knuckleheads, and that's why I said we can't give up on our people, because y'all might be giving up on Mashonda Baldwin. And so she stayed, this one sister, I'll never forget, her name is Celia Lowe, and she stayed in my face as in 1L. You need to join BLSA, you need to pay your dues, you need to join BLSA. And she did it in the spirit of love. And eventually, me and my peers was like, we better join this because this sister keep hounding us. But we joined it, and unbeknownst to me, that joining of this organization was actually going to change my life. And so when I ran for national chair, I ran thinking, I got all these skill sets that I'm going to bring to this organization. But when I look back and when I got ready to graduate from law school, I realized, and I shared with my peers, that BLSA had changed my life. It had literally had, it made me fall back in love with the very thing that is the most important thing, and that's self-identity and who I am and my responsibility to my community. And so that experience of service, it just brought up all the things I learned being a soldier in the military, selfless service. But it wasn't about the red, white, and blue, it is about that, but it was really about the red, black, and green first, and then the red, white, and blue. And so it just really made me fall back in love and get centered. When I was chair during one of those years, the University of Michigan decision came about, and to be a part of one of the largest student protests in the history of this country on the steps of the Supreme Court, to have BLSA there in full force, flying and driving on buses and just having that sense of pride that, yeah, we're here, and to have all those chapters with our banners, you can't, that's priceless. That's a priceless memory. That's a priceless experience that I will take with me to my grave. So as I look back, you know, I hope, and one of the things I've always said is that allow BLSA to prick your heart. You know, school will give you the intellectual capacity, but we need the heart for our people. And if we have a heart for our people, then God will do the rest.
I come from a law enforcement security background, so the experiences and you know, I wasn't just one who just came right out of college and went straight into law school. I had actually been out and was working, quote unquote, the real world for a minute. So, and then I went to graduate school, finished up my curriculum there. And so by the time I actually became national chair, I was in my early 30s. So I had a lot of experience and education and wisdom that I hope, you know, like I said, wisdom that a lot of chairs, you know, past and present really don't. It's not to say that I was in any way, shape, or form better equipped per se, but I certainly had experiences and whatnot that I used to my advantage while I was national chair. From the time I became a law student and I heard about and understood what NBLSA was, that's all I wanted to do. I didn't want to join the new court board. I didn't want to join law review. I didn't want to go out and be, you know, law student president and all these other things. I wanted to be a part of BLSA. And during my first year, I was elected vice president or vice chair of the local chapter. I also served on the regional board as parliamentarian. The next year, I ran for president of my local chapter. And then my last year, or starting my last year, I decided to do the crazy thing and run for national chair. Happy to say, you know, I ran against two very strong, positive brothers who I felt could have moved the organization along as well if they had won. I'm very fortunate that I won the position, and because I have certainly benefited, and I certainly gave BLSA a lot of time and effort, and I still do to this day, because I love people, period. Let me make sure I put that out there. But when you put it under a microscope, and you put us under a microscope, I love black people because that's who I am, that's who I identify with. So anything that I could do in order to help not only black people, but in particular black law students, that's what I was willing to do. And Shonda can tell you, because she was my successor, you know, I think I came to her house and was passing on information to her, and I was so tired because I had given all of my energy. I was falling asleep in her house and like, let me recuperate. But to me, there was nothing that I would, you know, if I had to do it all over again, I would. You know, I'm not going to say that I would love the struggle and all that stuff, but you know, it's something that you, as they say, you love. You toil for that which you love, and love that which you toil for. And during my term, there were several things, several issues that very important issues that were decided during my term. First and foremost, I am probably the black sheep of this group because I get credited with, I will say, use the term credited with being the chair that the race exclusivity policy was finally decided about. But what was most important to me during my term was the fact that my focus was law school admissions and making sure that in trying to encourage schools and encourage students and encourage everyone who would listen, that we have to make sure that we are dealing with the criteria that these schools have for admitting law students into schools. Because if these schools are not going to admit us, then we can love BLSA all we want, but guess what BLSA will be? You don't have any black law students, where's BLSA going to be?